We have 3 horse show alumni in the same barn.
Do the Charlie's Angels.
Yeah, exactly.
I will not explain it. Hello everyone and welcome to this episode of Steve's Horse Show. Today we are talking at Rocking G Equine Sanctuary. We've got Debra here. She is the boss in this place. One of the things that they do here that might be helpful to somebody that's watching is they take horses that are very underweight, horses with issues that they've never seen before, they had known nothing about. Obviously they need the help of a vet, which is what's going on now, to get started with a situation like that. But you take a horse from a very bad situation and try to make them to where they are adoptable to the general public. So walk us through a little bit about like this horse, for instance, that you're working on now, where it was and what you do with it from here.
We follow several kill pens because we mainly take thoroughbreds, and every time there's thoroughbreds that end up, whether it be Stroud or Perkins, and this one happens to be from Peabody, Kansas, we get a phone call. Okay. And she, as you probably remember, a couple of years ago, Casper, our gelding that got shot out here, he rescued him from a kill pen, and he looks just like her, and he looked this bad when we got him. So she spoke volumes to me. So we actually raised money on our Facebook page and got her bail money, which was $675, and got her transport fee, which was $200, and then we tried to raise another $200 for her vet fee. Right. And we have to haul them, and we got another gelding too that somebody bailed and asked us to take into the rescue, and so we hauled them together, and they have to be in quarantine for 30 days.
As when you get them, what do you do? Obviously you do like a full vet, evaluation, or whatever you want to call it. What do you call it, Grace? Call it something professional.
Intake evaluation.
Intake evaluation. I knew you'd come up with a professional phrase.
And one that's as skinny as this, she gets fed about 5 to 6 times a day. So it's very time consuming. Small meals, mashes, senior feed, warmed up with warm water, alfalfa cubes, wet, small amounts of hay because they're so hungry. They'll just eat and eat and eat. They can get impacted and colic on you. So, and it's sad because every time you walk by them, they're hungry and they're talking to you, but we have to feed them those small meals. And this mare's, I'd say probably 300 pounds underweight. As Grace has been here looking at her, she's noticing some neck issues, which I noticed yesterday when she came in. And we'll see, if it's soreness or if there's actually an injury. But our goal is to just get her back up to weight and then assess her and see if she can be rideable and adopted out.
So sometimes when you get like a horse, because you know nothing about them, of course, and they probably, none of them look rideable from the situation you're seeing them in. But when you get one like to that point, is there sometimes that they're not rideable and
then they're just pasture companions, or sometimes we have to make the hard choice to put them down if there's something really serious going on.
Gotcha. So you'll either do one of those two options, and so people will adopt just a pasture.
They're harder to adopt out, but yes, they will. We generally do for pasture companions. We do a adoption contract. It's a very strict contract, but we will do that with no adoption fee.
Oh, gotcha.
So for the pasture companion one. So if anybody's looking, that's what we generally do. We have a couple here right now that are pasture companions.
Gotcha. And so when you get to like the situation that you're looking for horses, do you stick to a specific, I know that you do thoroughbreds. Do you specifically do thoroughbreds? Do you do other types? What's your...
Our bylaws do not restrict us from taking other horses, but we have stuck with thoroughbreds for the most part. Gotcha. We, besides rescuing, and we also take them in as retired from the trainers and stuff at the track. Okay. And then we also, on the other flip side of that, is we have also kind of started rehabbing some horses that are going back to the track. So we kind of do a variety of things here. The ones that we rehab help to pay for the farm, that kind of thing. Right. And but the rescue is it's totally separate. But that's what we do. But we've stuck with thoroughbreds. We do have a quarter horse and a paint that we have rescued. Well, we went with that because for several reasons. At the time when we started about 7 years ago, there was a need for it, a very big need. And I liked that because I knew that most of the thoroughbreds had been handled from day one. And they, obviously had been ridden because they're ridden at the track. So we had something to work with there. Gotcha. We knew a little bit more about them than, you taking ones that you know nothing about.
Who do you work with specifically on, obviously you work with like kill pens and stuff like that. Who do you work with on the thoroughbred side, do you work with the actual trainers, owners? Do you just hear that somebody has, you know what I mean?
Your name just kind of gets passed around, but a lot of the trainers and some owners and stuff like that know, so they'll
Usually word of mouth.
Yeah, word of mouth.
Gotcha.
So, and they'll call us. I mean, I get people just now because we're out there, social media and stuff. I get phone calls all the time for just people that can't take care of their horses anymore. It's not even a thoroughbred. It's just
Gotcha.
you know. To me, I think the hardest thing is rehoming them because the general public thinks thoroughbreds are crazy. They're crazy, they're hot, and you get on them, they're going to rear up and run away with you. And that is so far from the truth. They're not. And you know as well as I know that you can get any horse that's crazy. I mean, it doesn't matter specific what breed it is, but that's the
pony.
Exactly. You can get an Appaloosa or a paint out here that's going to be just as crazy. I mean, it's in every breed, but that's the concept. That is what everybody thinks about thoroughbreds, is that they're crazy. You don't want a thoroughbred. So trying to educate the public and getting people to realize that you've got horses that want to be nothing more than a trail horse. We just got to put some ride times on them and get them exposed and stuff like that.
Are you just putting them like cowboy broke type of deal, or are you training them for a specific?
We ride them just kind of see where they're at, and then as we continue to ride them, if we think somebody will be a good jumper, we start taking them over little crosswells or something like that.
Gotcha.
And then if we think one's pretty lazy and want to do trail work, we'll try to expose them to that.
Gotcha.
And then I've got others that are, that maybe have had a really bad bow tendon, so they won't be a jumper, but they're great for flat work and, flat English classes and stuff. So we just kind of try to figure out where they're going with their...
If you can see where they could go, you try to...
Right, we try to push them that direction.
Gotcha.
Well, because these horses are coming off of the feedlot, there's a lot of times where they're compromised both in their immune system as well as in their digestive system. Some of these horses haven't had good sources of food, so you start feeding them again, and we actually run into more problems with refeeding of thin horses. A lot of people want to get them in and just pump food into them, and that can actually do some things with negative calorie issues where their body doesn't have enough calories to digest the food. So one of the programs we've worked on really hard is having Debra have a set program for these thin horses to come in and get small meals frequently through the day to help them be able to digest the food and actually utilize the calories. So it's a lot different than taking in a normal healthy horse and being able to just go straight into a feeding program. So we talk a lot about feeding programs. For the first 30 days, we're also monitoring for infectious diseases that may occur. So Deb's really good about quarantine. She mentioned having to suit up for each of these horses. That's to protect every other horse here because we don't want to spread things through the barn. So a lot of it's learning how to deal with the differences in a healthy horse versus a horse coming off the feedlot.
Right. How does the donations and stuff like that work with your facility?
You try to have fundraisers throughout the year, several throughout the year, which is really difficult. You have to have an X amount of number of people willing to help. You have to come up and be creative, something that you try to look outside just the horse people, because in reality, the horse group is a really small group of people.
Right.
So you really need to be thinking of something that you can do outside that group and reach people that have, that heart that they want to help. I have a problem constantly asking for donations of money because I feel like that's all I do. And in reality, like everybody loves to be a part of it and bail the horse. We raised $1,000 for her in less than 12 hours. And our followers are awesome with that. But then it's kind of like that all wears off and everybody's here and there's a lot of expense at the end,
Still feeding them, guys.
Yeah, feeding them. And then if, like Grace said, there's obviously something wrong with this mare's, neck. We're going to have x-rays. That's very expensive on a neck.
Yeah.
If they get sick and we're pumping antibiotics and stuff in them, that's another thing. And it just kind of gets, get forgotten. We have 160 acres. We have about 40 to 50 acres that is actually paddocked off for horses. So if you are interested in volunteering, it's a phone call placed to me, see if we can come up with times that work, and you fill out a form, and we teach you everything you need to know from beginners. We have a lot of people that love horses and don't know anything, and we get them started. And then for donations, we have a PayPal account, and you can mail a check. EMA's taken donations for us before. I'm sure you all would too if you find us on Facebook. It's under Rocking G Equine Sanctuary, and our donate button's on there.